moving forward.
Yo, what is up? It is Tuesday, July 19th. Could we get any more excited for ASOTU CON? Yes is the answer. Today we're talking about a new podcast we're launching, gaming while driving, and some old designs being made new.
The people really want to know who I is.
It's a fun day. It's a fun episode, actually.
It is. I'm really excited. It's like this is like episode brought to you by what the kids are into, but it's actually automotive, which is
That's really good.
we should have called it that. Was good. We should have retitled
Should have
it.
called
Sorry.
it that. Episode brought to you by what the kids are into, automotive. Oh man, we are going to be in Philly all day today with our boy Michael Cirillo, with the ASOTU crew, with our event planning team. We're going to Xfinity Live. We'll be at Sioka Subaru. We'll be at the live hotel where we're going to be hosting a big majority of the people who are coming to ASOTU CON.
Yeah.
And we're doing some new stuff, Kyle.
We've been
talking about the new podcast for a while, and we're kicking it off right in person. I don't know how much we're talking about. We never talk about that.
We'll talk about it a little bit. I think it's time to talk about it. So we'll get into that. Before we get into that, I've got it. So yesterday I was texting with a friend of ours, Steven Apicella, with Strategic DX Dealer Experience. Shout out to Steven. Long-time watcher, long-time listener, hanging out around the ASOTU world, and a definite troublemaker, right? And he last Friday saw the announcements about Jim McKelvey coming, writer of the Innovation Stack, co-founder of Square, now Block. I'm like getting that in my vernacular so I don't mess it up when we announce him on stage.
In person, right? Yeah.
But he was just like, man, I'm so excited to see him in person because he's read the book. And track with me, he had it like on quick. He said, I have this quote ready and available for me to remember. So I want to read this quote for everyone because I think that it is a massive spirit. When I get to the end of the quote, if you want to read the book, read the Innovation Stack prior to coming, because it'll give you some insight into a lot of the stuff that we're talking about.
So you're talking about a quote from the book that Steven brought up to you.
Yes, exactly. He was like, this one's always on tap for me. So the quote goes like this: if you stay within this metaphorical wall, so he's talking about like the way business has always been done, you're a sane business person. Nobody's going to get mad at you. So this is my context. Nobody's going to get mad at you. Here, continuing the quote. If you leave the world of the known, you're either an entrepreneur or a corpse. Scary. All those people I shuttled to the airport were business people. Now he's talking about a job that he had growing up. All those people I shuttled to the airport were business people. Now here's the kicker. Lean in, everyone. They were successful and respected, but they were singing the songs, not writing the music. That one got me because and I remember when I read that in the book the first time I read it, it hit because I'm one of those people that I want to write the music. And I think that so many people in automotive are that way. We are an entrepreneurial spirit by nature in our industry, and we're not just cool with singing the same old songs. And so the encouragement is to daily write the music because that's what entrepreneurialism, that's what singing off the song sheet and real troublemaking is all about.
Very, very, very cool. Right. We've been saying all innovation is trouble. I got my special innovation is the choice t-shirt on today. Right. Innovation is trouble. Innovation means that you chose to do it a different way than everyone else was doing it. And when you try to innovate, you'll either be a successful innovator or an entrepreneur if you start your own thing, or a corpse, or you're dead. Right. And so the people of us who are innovators, the ASOTU community is about that. Troublemakers, guess what? That doesn't scare us. Actually, that makes life seem worth living and exciting. So in order to
speaking of all of the innovators and troublemakers,
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
That's a good one. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Softball. There you go.
You were doing the segue of making me finish your sentence.
I'm really excited about this podcast that we're launching. We're calling it Auto Collabs.
Yes.
We know that the theme of automotive right now is collaboration. If you're watching it, you can see we've got the podcast art, which in our terms, like the logo makes it official, right?
Yes. Once you have a logo, you're done. So Auto Collabs by ASOTU.
Yes. So what we're going to be doing is talking to different people across the automotive industry, dealers, industry partners, OEMs, people outside of automotive, all of the real innovators and troublemakers with some real talk conversations. And Paul, we thought it'd be timely to just read exactly what we wrote in regards to just the description of how to tie this down and how to give people like, what is this all going to be about? And what are we going to be talking about on this myriad of podcasts that we're going to be throwing out?
Oh, it's going to be a lot. And so, this will be in the show notes. I'm going to read it. It also, if you go to autocollabs.com, it just redirects to our temporary website or temporary podcast landing page. There's no content on it yet, but there will be really soon. Here it is. The walls are closing in on franchised retail auto dealers as the industry is moving at breakneck velocity toward a new way of doing business. And the convergence of economic and social volatility, new entrants like Tesla and Carvana, and the new rules of retail are putting auto dealers in a crucible that will either destroy them or refine them. Auto Collabs brings you deep into real talk conversations with the brightest operators and innovators in the retail auto industry who believe the dealer network is the single greatest way to serve the transportation needs of communities across the country. The only way retail auto dealers and industry partners will survive is by committing to innovate together. So let's get started. Welcome to Auto Collabs.
Go.
Check this out.
So real quick, because words are important. And you chose the word crucible. And a lot of people hear that and they might not really understand. Like, maybe a lot of people don't have a concept for what a crucible is, right? So I'm going to read the definition for you and you can go look it up, but it's CRUCIBLE. And it says a ceramic or metal container in which metals or other substances may be melted or subjected to very high temperatures. And the idea of that is that it's both a refining act and a molding act that can happen because extreme heat is able to be put on these metals, changing them to liquid and then reforming them based on what needs to have next. And so the idea of a crucible is to both refine and restructure everything that's going on. And I think that word is a crux word in that description for me.
It is. And you know what? I have to give a shout out to my boy, NADA instructor, Matt Volmers, because we were in a conversation months ago and, he was asking me if I was going to write a follow-up to the Automotive Manifesto. And I was like, yeah, I've really been thinking about it a lot. My wife's been pushing me to do it. Talking about this probably like 60 days ago. And I was like, I think I might call it the automotive convergence. Right. And then he said something, a few things. He goes, you know what I would suggest? He's like, you might want to consider the word crucible. And it's been in my head ever since. So when it was like, hey, we're right in the description for Auto Collabs, like, I love that I never told you that story, but that you pulled that word out. That is a strong word.
Yes.
So
I didn't know. That's so wild that like I pulled that out of your description and that was a key moment. That's really wild.
Yeah. And so like, look, that's another example, right? Like of friendships and relationships at NADA, who's teaching dealers and teaching the folks that are going to be running the stores in the future, right? Because of relationship, because of podcasts, because of ASOTU, everybody just kind of working and circling in this ecosystem together, right? And that is the nature, literally that example right there is the nature of what we're doing as ASOTU, trying to get the ideas and the insights and the thought processes and the thought partners together so that we can actually do all these things that we're saying we need to do. So that just made my day.
That's good. That's
just made
so
my day.
good.
All right, we have so we didn't even talk about what we're doing with the podcast. So basically what we're doing is
we got all excited.
Wait a minute, I'm moving on to the next story. So here's what we're doing. We are going to be interviewing how many people are on the list so far? It's got to be close to 50.
78 or something. No,
close to 78. So this is a deeper level of conversation. It's going to be happening in a little bit of a longer form podcast. A lot of people have been asking for longer form. Our morning show, like we do news and insights here, and we have like a high energy level and all that stuff. The next one's going to be dialed back a bit, and we're going to have time to stretch out the conversations and go deep with these dealers, go deep with these industry partners about relevant things that are happening. Get the thought processes, try to unpack it a little bit. And Kyle, myself, and Michael Cirillo, who many of you know as the host of the Dealer Playbook podcast, probably one of the most popular podcasts in retail automotive. And let's be honest, one of our favorite guys to hang out with. We are going to co-host and give some commentary on the show. We're going to open the shows up. We're going to be interviewing everybody kind of separately. Like we're all going to take a turn. And actually, we might have one more host we're going to throw in here. But that's one of the things we're doing today is we're going to record episode 00 and bring you some love. So it is going to be a new flavor. I think automotive is going to be like, what the heck?
What
is
just
this
happened?
Cirillo, we'll see. I mean, Cirillo's been part of our content. He was co-host at NADA. He jumped in when Kyle and his wife were having their baby, and he's just a natural fit. He's kind of like a spirit animal of ASOTU, I would call him.
Absolutely, especially that silky smooth voice he has. Right?
Yeah, there's going to be a graphic. What does Michael Cirillo look like as a spirit animal? I don't know. Let's talk about a few news stories before we have to go today. Again, today's episode is kind of like what the kids are into, and this article from The Verge is about the gaming engine Steam working to be available to play in Tesla. So I had to consult with my 15-year-old about exactly what Steam is. I know it's a thing. Number one, because I see credit card charges from Steam on my credit card. Number two,
it's a real thing.
Now, I was a little familiar with it. So Steam is like to video games what like Amazon Prime and Netflix are to TV. It's a platform where you can play games, you can buy games. You have a community there, a little bit different in that you have a community element. And so this is kind of where everybody gathers around gaming. But the thing is, like, all the titles are available in one place. Right. So Steam is working with Tesla to make their whole engine and platform available so you can play it inside your Tesla vehicle. I mean, you can already play games in Teslas. If you haven't known that, you can just Google it out, which is an interesting blend of automotive and entertainment, or automotive and gaming, or we would say automotive and popular culture.
There you go. Because they're converging, to use your word, right? That like this, we talked about this last week, how even just the news media is talking about it. And so like when this popular culture, especially anything that's dealing with like millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, and then automotive is converging, and the recognition that attention to pop culture is necessary to carry retail brand on the automotive side, that's a whole new level, right? You can't just build a cool car. You have to integrate popular culture into that car's brand.
Without a doubt, you think of Apple's new CarPlay that's going to be released soon, integrating with the vehicle, taking over more of the screens and more of the experience. Just more and more vehicles are becoming a seamless experience with other elements of your life. Now, I know you can't control maybe all the stuff that's going on with your OEM, but being aware of this, starting to ask questions, starting to pay a little bit of attention, guess what? At the very least, helps you understand your consumers a little better.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, we're moving from one, what the kids are into, the next. Car culture is something incredibly special in America, right? It's been a part of really the rite of passage. Kyle, you said this the other day. You're like, getting a car is like a rite of passage in this company, right? Getting your license. And so that has been like how we grew up, how our parents grew up. And there's some questions on whether or not that's waning. Like, is car culture waning in a video game world, in an Uber world where there's ride sharing, and maybe you don't need to have your own car? Well, Hyundai is working to recapture the magic of car culture through new eyes with these two really, really amazing looking concept cars that are actually real. One is called the RN22E, and the other one is the Envision 74. If you're watching the live stream, you can actually see what these things look like. And let me just say, we linked the video up that they released them for in the show notes. It's 10 minutes long, and it will blow your dang mind.
I watched less than 30 seconds of it because Paul was like, you got to watch it. And I just watched it real quick. And it really is, even just the way it was shot, the cinematic nature in which it was shot is not normal. It is not mainstream. And
Right,
this
that's
video,
not normal. That's
no,
a great way to put
this
it.
video has over 2 million views on YouTube. So there's high level of attention on the way that Hyundai is branding this new, vision for their like detail and design.
It's really cool. I probably watched about half of it. I'm gonna probably download it and try to like watch it through because it's worth it. But at first I thought it was just like, oh, this is a cool car. It kind of looks like a video game, right? And they have some cool features like you can pick what the car sounds like when it's driving. It, it emits the sounds from the speakers. First of all, it sounds freaking ferocious. It is
Right.
unbelievable. And if you listen to it with headphones on, you're gonna like, I need to get one right now. And so, but when you watch the video, it brings in the new drivers, it brings in the engineers, and they talk about things like, what does it feel like to drive a car in this new way? And like they talk about how do you make a car move agile around corners when it's so heavy? And I didn't think about that. Like you have a much heavier car, battery operated vehicle, right? A lot heavier of a vehicle. How do you change it? And they're talking about how they tune the motors to work in a different way. They talked about braking, but they did it in a way that was, and you'll see it when you see the video, is like this rebirth of like a young person falling in love with like the fun of driving and like being a part of it and kind of souping your car up a little bit. And so like car culture isn't dying.
Yo, how do we get that crew to ASOTU CON? I'm just streaming this up right now.
$500,000. Oh, the video crew?
No, not the crew, not the video crew. The crew that has like designed this, the design crew and the concept crew, because I'm just,
that's a great idea. Hey, look, if you're a Hyundai dealer or Kia dealer and you have some connections, or if you're NADA or if somebody has connections to Hyundai, check the video out and see if you can connect your boys here with this crew, because we would love to feature what they've done as an example of progressive culture and auto retail, thinking outside the box of traditional auto retail. If you can make that happen, we'll do something super nice for you, and we would be eternally grateful, as should please. But look, car culture isn't dying, right? It just needs some new context. And like,
and what's crazy is the concept is out of the 1970s.
Oh, the one car. Oh my gosh. Yes. I forgot. I didn't even think to mention that. So what's that one called? The Pony? The Envision 74.
It's modeled after the Pony Coupe, right? It was the same designer that went on to design the DeLorean. So actually you can kind of see DeLorean there in there.
Nathan, can you throw those pictures back up again?
Yeah. So if you look at the top,
again,
the one on like the top left, and you
top
just
right and left, the top two
top right and left, you just pin that against a DeLorean. You're like, okay, I see where they came where they brought this design concept from. But that right there looks like every single art kid in 8th grade that was drawing out cars, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's this like deep passion play here that's like seated in the way that we dream up our vision car. It's not the way that a lot of these like curvy kind of, the way that the new EV looks. And so it's a really interesting play for sure.
Yeah, it is. And look, if you're just listening, trust us. It's awesome. And it definitely kind of broadens your horizons on what a car could be, what a car should be, what might get young people excited just about car culture, because we know when the young people get excited about car culture, we all win because we have the opportunity to facilitate car culture. And if we pay attention, we can also facilitate pop culture, which is when we all win. So whatever you're doing today, thanks for spending some time. Thanks for keeping your head up today. We have a lot more coming your way. Auto Collabs is dropping. Get your ASOTU CON tickets. Man, we are just getting started.